What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Real Fan Sports. I'm here with Nonpfixion, and
What's
it's time
cracking?
for week 2 of This Week in Sports.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. How you been, Non? How's your week been? Football is in
Week's been okay.
less than 24 hours. We got kickoff. I'm excited. Are you?
I mean, it's actually been cool. I've actually been enjoying watching college football. Seeing TCU go down with, even though I like TCU, was a great game, and then seeing Duke win, that was a great game. I was like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I love college sports.
We know how you root for the small schools, bro. We know how you
Root
root
for the
for
underdog.
those
Root for the
schools.
underdog.
Well, we got a really special one tonight, guys. We're gonna do this just how we did our last podcast, but this time we're gonna bring on a surprise guest, and that surprise guest will be nobody other than Mister. What's the worst that could happen? Bradley Sherman. what? What is good with you? What is good with
What's
you,
going on?
man?
You know what's sad? I'm wearing the same shirt that I said it is.
only to make it worse. Only to make it worse.
Yeah, it makes it so much worse, actually.
Skylar said, "I'm not excited." Skylar, why aren't you excited? Let's just
Of
get
course,
that out
Scott's
of the
not
way.
excited. I don't give a shit what Scott says.
Skylar already knows she's upset because I'm gonna be like in the house watching games on Monday, Thursday, all of Sunday, most of Saturday, and she's just not gonna get much of a conversation out of me. But I mean, that's part of the contract. Have y'all seen the contract that's been going around on Instagram?
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes, I love it. I actually love it.
Oh, it's
I think
so
that's.
great.
I think we deserve contracts like that.
I completely agree.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I have it saved to my phone right now, Scott. I got a printer. Excuse me, I have a printer right here. I'll print that sucker up. We'll get you to sign it live on stream.
Get that thing written down and all.
Skylar, do it for the content. Do it for the content. We need the views. We need the views.
She said, because look at my text. Oh, here we go.
Oh no, you're in trouble.
No. She's like, because Brad's live with you. What, Scott, you wanted to be live? You always welcome. You want to shy off in the corner.
Right?
You come live
Like,
next time.
what?
You come live next time. We got you, Skylar. But anyways, welcome to the second week of This Week in Sports, where we'll be going over some hot topics around the world in sports, same thing. Let's go ahead and start off with topic number one and get right into it, as the NFL season is kicking off in less than 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
Who are our sleeper teams? What teams do we think can creep their way into the playoffs or creep their way into a Super Bowl? Nan, I'll go ahead and start with you first.
I mean, well, for me as a sleeper team, I picked two actually. I think most everybody's gonna say Washington Commanders, but I also think Pittsburgh Steelers have an actual prime opportunity if they can get it together. I mean, with Pickens look good the last 7 weeks of last season, if he can kind of hold on to that or harness that and do something big with it, they have a good opportunity. Personally, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. I mean, Kenny Pickett had a great showing at the end of the season last year. Pickens coming into year 2. I think a lot of it's going to really boil down to, health of Najee, getting that run game going, still getting some pressure off of Kenny Pickett, and, just how that defense is going to fare. I am with you as far as Washington. Washington is a team that I have flipped complete sides over. After watching just, 2 preseason games of Sam Howell, I was like, oh, wow. This kid is special. I think Dotson is going to be really nice. Their defense is looking pretty solid. And you know what? I also just don't like the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to outbeat the Eagles in the division, but I think they can sleep into that one of the wild card spots, and I'll take the Cowboys.
I think that'd be great. That'd be great.
Of course. What you think, Brad? Who's your sleeper team? Who you got?
Detroit. I
Detroit,
think
okay.
Lions.
only going to sneak in. I think they're also going to win their division. With A-Rod gone, they're poised to just take over everything.
They are poised, but I don't know if they're going to win the division. I don't know. I
Who
don't
do you
know.
think? Who do you think's going to win it? Besides, you think
I'm
it's Minnesota?
I'm still thinking Minnesota got it to lose. It's theirs to lose.
I think it's Minnesota's to lose, but I just really have a weird confidence about Detroit, and I'm kind of with there for Brad. That Lions were actually a team that I was going to put as my sleeper, but I was like, I don't think they're a sleeper team. I think they're a team that people expect to be good. I think you are right in the sense that, the Vikings, I think it is their division to lose, but I think Detroit has everything to go out and win it.
Oh yeah, they definitely have the potential, the keys to make it. I mean, also for that division for me, I think everybody but Green Bay has potential. That's just honest truth. I think if the Bears game plan offensively, if they can keep him from running all the damn time and utilize the three good running backs they have, there'd be a dominant running offense.
Bears, I could see being a sleeper jumping in there as well, but I just think the Bears still need a little bit of help. Still think they need a little more weapons. I think they need a good running back to kind of get beside them. They're already, Khalil Herbert's kind of came into the place as the number one for Montgomery, but they've already had news that they're not planning on making him a 3-down back. So you got rid of Montgomery because of his injuries, but you still don't have a RB1. It's just kind of confusing what they're doing over there. I like to say that the Bears are going to elevate this year, but I don't see them being a playoff team yet or having a chance at a division. I don't see that at all.
Hey, it is the NFL. Anything's possible. I don't know. I haven't read the script, so I don't know.
I mean, it's any given Sunday. Anybody can beat anybody.
Oh yeah, very true. Very true.
Boy said I hadn't read the script. Well, going in from that, and as we're continuing the debate of the NFL, let's talk about divisional winners. Who do we predict will win each individual division this year? We'll go ahead and start off with the AFC North, and we'll send that over to Brad. Who you got winning the AFC North?
Who do you think, baby? I think Baltimore is going to go and take that division back.
I think so. Baltimore and Bengals are the two that I think are up to grab, especially now that Joe Burrow has been elevated to healthy, will be playing week 1. I think they basically maintained their whole team. Like, I think Lamar and them have gotten better. I really like Zay Flowers and like that addition. But the health of Gus Edwards, the health of J.K. Dobbins, the health of Lamar Jackson, the health of OBJ are all the things that stop me. Because at some point, a couple of them are going to get hurt, whether it's for a short period of time or a long period of time. And I think that's going to make the difference in who wins the division.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree on that. I totally agree on that. That's why I think it's going to be the Bengals. It's theirs.
But I would like to see the Ravens do it. I'm not going to lie, because they showed out last year. When they had the chances, they showed out, and they looked good. Like, it made Lamar turn into a believer good
until Lamar went down. Then you have Tyler Huntley trying to dive 3 yards out into the end zone for a quarterback sneak.
That's very
Never going to forget that play. Thanks, Tyler Huntley, and thanks, John Harbaugh.
Don't act like it's Tyler Huntley's fault. You jinxed it. You the one jinxed it.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I ain't trying to go over the line when I'm 2 yards out. All right.
I'm just trying to figure out what's the worst that could happen. Moving on from the AFC North, let's go into the AFC East. Who do you have being the divisional winners in the AFC East?
I still think it's the Bills. Even though everybody's looking at the Jets, I still think it's the Bills. The Bills have some great. I think the potential is there for them to actually win that. Jets have great youth, and because I haven't really seen them play, I can't pick them. I can't pick them on what ifs. I know I've seen the Bills play, and I know what they have. So until I see them play, my choice is the Bills.
What you got, Brad?
I'm actually gonna disagree with them. I'm gonna go with the Jets. The Jets by far gave the Bills the most headache in that division and already took them down once. And with bad quarterback play and just bad offensive play overall, they almost swept them. So I think the Jets have, loaded up on offense. That defensive line is still stout and still deeper probably than any other team in the league right now. They're going to be the ones to take this division.
Yeah, just how you said earlier with like any given Sunday is kind of how I look at the Jets almost, beating them and then almost sweeping them was kind of one of those situations where it's any given Sunday you can go ahead and grab a win. I think the Bills were miles ahead of the Jets last year, but because of the elevation of their team and their chemistry under Coach Saleh, the way that defenses work together, how they've been able to pull together these young guys and turning them into leaders. I mean, you're talking about second-year wide receiver Garrett Wilson, second-year cornerback Sauce Gardner are now leaders on their individual sides of the ball. And you wrap that in with Aaron Rodgers, a guy that is probably the most efficient quarterback to ever play in the game. He limits all mistakes. His touchdown to interception ratio is something unheard of. And I think he's going to make these guys look really, really good this year. And then the help of Dalvin Cook coming in, even if he's not 100% healthy, him and Breece Hall back there, I think they just have such a dominant squad. As much as I love the Bills, if I'm a betting man, I put it on the Jets this year. That'll bring us into the AFC South, and I think this one's pretty easy for all of us. I think the Jags are the team to beat. I don't really see many teams in the AFC South competing with the Jaguars unless things just go to trash, and the last 3 years of their development was just a fluke. What do you guys think?
I feel the same way, honestly. I picked the Jags as well. I mean, I want to see what's going to happen with Indianapolis, but same like I've always said, I don't like Irsay. I don't like how he manages his teams. Yeah, I'm going Jags.
I'm actually going to go opposite of y'all. I really do think Tennessee is going to be the one to do it. Tennessee is still strong, has a strong defense. They kind of loaded up on offense. I don't know how well the quarterback play is going to be, even with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, but I think Tennessee can actually show that they can own this division. I mean,
even with Ryan Tannehill, though?
Even with Ryan Tannehill, I mean, you're still pretty loaded up. As long as you can ride that run game and be able to run the play action fakes for DeAndre Hopkins to be able to get the looks, I think you maybe said.
I mean, to piggyback off that, I mean, Tennessee has kind of showed time and time again that they're, dominant in this division regardless of who's behind the quarterback. I mean, last year, their number one wide receiver was rookie Treylon Burks, who was injured and really wasn't ready for that spotlight. I think he's going to have a much better sophomore year now that he's not getting all the number one cornerback looks because Hopkins is going to take that off of him. And then you can't forget we're also going to get a very, very angry Derrick Henry. But in all honesty, I just think that it's the Jaguars' time to shine. It's Trevor Lawrence's come-up year. This is the year where the Jags kind of start making themselves into a franchise, especially in a weak division. I mean, I don't see this division getting stronger very quick. If Tennessee doesn't make it out in one division this year, there's going to be continuous collapsing of their team, and it's going to be Jaguars for at least another 3 to 4 years before Houston or Indianapolis can try to make a come-up.
Oh, yeah,
I think Houston has that young team that can actually start competing in 2 to 3 years. If they get the quarterback play that they think C.J. Stroud can do, they already have a pretty good defense, a very good young defense too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The Colts, however, I don't see them doing anything, especially with everything that the owner did with Jonathan Taylor. I don't think anybody really wants to play for them.
I just think when it comes to Tennessee, to me, Ryan Tannehill is so mid of a quarterback. It's like I don't care what anybody. I don't care about the other positions. He controls most of that. What's going on? And if they don't have confidence in him, that team's going to fall apart regardless. They're not. Yeah.
And they've done a poor they've done a poor job at getting backups as well because Malik didn't work out, and from what we've heard, Levis isn't looking very good either. So we'll see how all that works out. But I definitely have Jags. Non has Jags, and Brad is going to go with the Titans returning. Wrong button here. Next up, AFC West, Non's division. I'll go ahead and let you take the reins, Non. Who do you got winning the AFC West?
I mean, Super Bowl champs, Chiefs. Everybody always says every year it says the Chargers, but I've been hearing that for literally the last 15 years. So I'm Chiefs. It's gonna be Chiefs.
Brad?
Yeah, you can't argue with that. I mean, the Broncos, you don't know what it's going to be like with Sean Payton as quarterback. They may be good. They may give everyone headaches. The Chargers have still shown they can't get it done, and the Raiders are honestly they're the Raiders at this point.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I agree. The Chiefs. I mean, losing Kels is definitely going to be an issue, but I think that hyperextension shouldn't be nothing major. He should be able to come back from that within a week. It does suck that he's going to miss the first game. I believe if this game was on Sunday, he might even try to play, but since it is Thursday, Kelsey with a hyperextended knee will be out. But I think the Chiefs still dominate this division. I mean, it's one of those things, like y'all said, until you prove me otherwise. Because as much as I've doubted them in years past or think that somebody else could compete, no one's competed. It's just been them. So until someone can stand up and make a fight to overtake the champs, then you can't say anything otherwise. That'll bring us into the NFC North. We already had a little debate about this earlier, so let me hear your take first, Brad.
Like I said, I think it's Detroit. Detroit gave everyone in that division a headache, and they still even beat an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers team to take them out of the playoff race completely. Minnesota may have had like that big run last season with what was it, 12 games, had the greatest comeback in NFL history in terms of regular season and actually in terms of point differential, but they still couldn't. They still barely hung on to every single game they were in, and still came into the playoffs and got worked by the Giants. And Detroit has a much better offense and probably even better defense with Aiden Hudson coming into his sophomore season. So I'm picking Detroit.
Don, what you got?
Initially, I put the Lions as well, and I think, like I said before, I think they do have great potential. I just want to see consistency with Jared Goff. If he can be consistent, then it's theirs. It's theirs. In Minnesota, I mean, I think Cousins is a good quality quarterback. He's going to throw for probably 4,200 yards this season. Probably have about close to 22 touchdowns. I mean, he's gonna have a good season. I think it's really between those two teams. It's just consistency with the Lions. Last year, that was their issue. I had him as fantasy. I watched his highlights in his games. It was consistency. He would fall apart certain games.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared Goff is definitely a question, but it's also the question for Minnesota being their quarterback, Kirk Cousins. And now with not having Dalvin Cook, you have Madison, who's a good running back, a guy that has came in for Cook whenever Cook's been injured and has done the job, nothing special, nothing that's going to make your eyes go bug-eyed and wide open, ready to see his next snap, but he gets the job done. But I feel like the Minnesota team has gotten worse, also losing Thielen. They did bring in a rookie, but I think they've gotten worse while Detroit is still getting better, and that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards Detroit this year. But if Goff fumbles and plays like a lot of people expect him to play, then they'll have a tough year, and Minnesota will kind of take it pretty swimmingly, possibly even a rare Chicago come up. But if Goff really just screws everything up, let's go into the NFC East. I think this one again, it's hard to debate with the Eagles. I mean, prove me wrong, prove me otherwise. This is kind of how I look at this division as well with the East. Cowboys constantly falling up short. I just realized they have the Redskins logo on this. This must be an old thing. Didn't check that out. But
I just noticed that too.
the Commanders and the Giants are getting better, but the Eagles, even though they lost so many pieces on their defense last year, still got better somehow with the new additions that they went and grabbed. And now you're talking about a fully healthy A.J. Brown, a fully healthy Slim Reaper. They got DeAndre Swift, who I think is a more talented running back than Miles Sanders. I hope that ends up working out there with the Eagles. And I think that team has just gotten better in all cylinders. What do you think, Nan?
I agree. I'm with the Eagles. That's why I chose the Eagles.
Yeah, with Philly, that defense only got better and better, especially with at this point, you might as well just change their name to the Philadelphia Bulldogs because they're taking every Georgia defensive player they can find and they're putting them on there and they're making them Pro Bowlers.
Basically.
Yeah.
NFC South, my division, but also Brad's division, even though he's wearing a Raiders shirt. I'll let Brad
take
it's
the Mark
start.
Andrews' birthday, baby.
Okay,
Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday, Mark. Brad, who you got in the NFC South?
It's who dat all the way. There's really no one. There's no one in this division that I see as anything close to a threat.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brad. The thing is, I think Atlanta can be challenging, and I think they will give us a run for our money just because they do it every year. Regardless of how good our team or how bad their team is, they're always going to give us a little run for our money. But I think Bucks are they're done for a while. We won't see the Bucks again or be relevant again until they're ready to fight for a Super Bowl because that's the only times that they have winning seasons is if they're that good. Like it's either they're very good or they're absolute garbage. And then Carolina, people that go so high and heavy over a rookie quarterback and think that they're going to go do great things and win divisions, just look at the statistics of it. It rarely happens. You got to understand, especially with their standpoint, Bryce Young is a small quarterback. It's going to be a very big learning curve for him to get used to playing in the NFL. Do I think he can do it? Yes, he can, but not this year. It'll be between Falcons and Saints. Of course, I'm going to go Hoodats, but I got the Saints winning this one. What you got, Nan?
Oh yeah, I got the Saints winning. Like I said earlier, if for any reason the Saints begin to falter throughout the season, Atlanta's going to pick up that extra. They're going to do that. But between the other two teams, it's not really a question. Rookie quarterbacks win 30% to less of their first season game. So, and that's a real statistic. I'm not just making it up. So, all the people out there that are mad because of what I was saying in other chat rooms, like other groups on the forums, don't get mad at me. It's the statistics. That means it happens regularly. Like this is not new. But I definitely think it's going to be the Saints.
Right. I
If
mean,
anything, I think Carolina is going to give everyone a headache because I feel like to them they have the second strongest defense in this division.
That's the only thing that Carolina has, though, is that. Like, that's the biggest issue. And then lastly, the NFC West. You know, this one is one that I went back and forth between because we all know Cardinals are playing to lose. Sidebar on that, Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC that's suspected to be the number 1 draft pick next year, has already came out and said that if there isn't a good opportunity for him in the league, he'll just go back to school again. And now with the NIL being a thing, there's more reason just go back to school. Why not? Why go sign with a team that wants to lose? Just go back to school. So that's going to be interesting how that plays out. And then Rams, who I think are just tough, they're just falling apart, man. It's like the Post Malone song. So I'm stuck between Seahawks and 49ers. Like I want to say 49ers just because they just do everything so precise and right. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They play really clean, old school style football. They incorporate the run a lot in a lot of different ways using McCaffrey, and then also with Elijah Mitchell being back healthy, they're gonna be able to use him more, which again is gonna take some pressure off of second-year quarterback Brock Purdy. They still have great skill players in Ayuk and Debo, and their defense is solid. So it's hard to go against that, but I feel like the Seahawks could possibly rain on their parade. Brad, what do you think?
See, I was in the same boat because it really is between Seattle and the 49ers. But I am leaning more towards San Fran. They have shown they have the stronger defense. They show they have the better running back. And maybe not necessarily the best quarterback play because I'm interested to see what Mr. Irrelevant can do this season. I mean, it's still damn near the same team. And now you have your $170 million man back on the field. Former Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. And I mean, you're just out in almost every single position. I don't know any of their weaknesses. They've got great TBs, great linebackers, and even better defensive line. I think the only issue to them is maybe wide receiver depth if they keep using Deebo Samuel as a running back. So it's 49ers for me.
Oh, yeah. I actually do agree. I mean, my biggest issue is Brock Purdy. I mean, I know for the first year he looked great, but every time we see a new quarterback or even a new skill player that's not considered either top tier but comes out and show out, it's because they don't have any tape on him. Now they have film on him. They really see that he's just your basic quarterback, and Niners have the type of offense that you can literally plug almost any quarterback from every 32 team in there, and they'll be successful. Because the playbook works for every type of quarterback. It doesn't even matter. I think if Purdy does not show up this season and for whatever reason falters and just looks truly like Mr. Irrelevant, Geno Smith's going to be big in this season in this division. It's between those two teams. But I do think the Niners have everything skill wise to be the number one team in that division.
Yeah. I have 49ers winning it, but I tell you what, I want Seahawks to win it, if you want me to be honest.
I want to see Geno, That's what I want to see Geno. Yeah.
That'd be great to see Geno do it. Get comeback player of the year, then come back and win the division. I like that.
I love that.
I'm down with that story.
Before we go into topic number 3, quick shout. If y'all want to go check out Brad on his social media platform, Mind, Body, and Soul Fitness, you can go ahead and click that link to his Instagram. Go follow him over there. He puts out some really great motivational stuff, shares plenty of stories on his Instagram stories to help motivate you throughout your day, let you know that you're not alone through whatever difficult situation that you might going through. There's always a voice and there's always a person in the ear to listen to. So make sure y'all go check him out over there. Logo's right below his head, and the link is there in the chat. And on top of that, guys, memberships are back. So if you are interested in getting a membership, memberships are back. Go and click that join button and go ahead and get yourself a membership. We have a wide range of prices and membership levels that you can go ahead and take part of. Get yourself some of these fire emotes. We got Woo Girl Skyla, Cheers Zach, Peace Out, Splash, Fly Eagles Fly, Flag, Non-P Love, Defense, and then our RFS pennant with plenty more to come. So thank y'all for tuning in and helping us get our channel memberships back. Much love. But right into topic number 3. This is probably the funniest thing ever, and this is Eric Lewis, former NBA referee, who was under some investigation about a burner Twitter account. Let us know about this situation going on.
So I'm pretty much getting information from USA Today. We'll have a link down below once we finalize this live stream. But it just says veteran NBA referee Eric Lewis, considered to be pretty much one of the best in the league. Unless you're not a Cavs fan or some other or Boston fan. But it says pretty much he was under investigation for using an unauthorized burner account. Now, for the NBA, referees are not allowed to actually speak on situations that deal with the NBA. It's in their contract where they can't talk about it. So in the account, he would actually go and speak on different situations that either were referencing him and his decision and his calls on the court, or other referees on the games that he was reffing because he knew the situation. Now, the reason why this is actually big information, big news, is because now that he come out of nowhere saying he's going to retire, the investigation now stops.
We know it's true.
So now, if you can read between the lines, you definitely can see. Well, this is 100% true. If he just randomly decides to retire, when you're one of the top 5 referees that get NBA Finals every year, that means you get the big bucks every year. You randomly now just decide to retire because I just want to spend time with the wife. No, you were actually you were on the burner. You were definitely on the burner.
Don't play. So
because I'm just 52 years old.
I'm going to be on paid leave. I didn't do nothing wrong though. Don't worry about me.
So, what? I'm sorry, I read a comment in the chat. So I mean, as far as this goes, I mean, how do you feel like this affects the NBA at all? I mean, the fact that the refs aren't able to have a voice or a comment on it, I mean, I guess I understand, that they don't want them commenting. They want to keep it all within the organization, have one singular voice come out and make an announcement whether they thought the ruling was right or wrong. But, to where they kind of strict their opinions about the game that they're officiating and can't back up their points. Like, do we feel like it's a worse look for the NBA or a worse look for the refs?
I would say it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both because, I mean, there is a ref on X.com, or formerly known as Twitter. There's a ref page where they used to be able to send questions about different calls, and they would respond. But over the last, I want to say 3 to 5 seasons, as reffing has gotten worse and worse to most of us that we would notice, they respond to less and less comments. And it's like, is it, like we all joke about, is it because of the script? They don't want to talk about the script, what I'm saying? But, or is it just the fact that the rules have been manipulated to help certain situations to make more money because it brings more views. And because of that, they can't go and say, oh, well, this situation didn't really happen this way, even though we all see it. And most people that watch basketball they know the basic rules, but there's some people out there that really go behind NBA games and say this is what the actual rules are and break down why referees were wrong in the situation because they use the actual rule book. So I think it actually negatively impacts both.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Go ahead.
Can you imagine if like NFL refs did that and fans?
Oh man,
went in and that kind of stuff. I mean, just think about the Nolan no call, and just think about how bad fans ripped through refs, and then find out there's a burner account of I don't even remember the ref's name who officiated the game.
Right.
He made a burner account to try to defend that call.
To defend it. Oh, that call, and then I go back to one of the most famous Raiders besides the tuck rule. Is just the index card. The index card,
yeah.
Like how do you quantify why you did that?
Right.
Why did you have an index card in the first place? That was premeditated right there.
That's right. Do y'all remember the play that made Jadeveon Clowney famous against Michigan?
Oh yeah.
That was a 4th and 1 play where it was literally this. You could see it. Millions of people saw it. There was this much space. Like he was short. Like Michigan was short, and they said, "Yeah, that's a first down for us, boys. That's Michigan ball right there."
And what's funny about that? Even the announcers were like, "Wait, what?
What's going on?"
That play was actually circling on Twitter. or
Ball don't
X.com.
lie.
Yeah, and it's like,
When Jadeveon
how do
Clowney
you?
came and took that ball back. Ball
That
don't
was
lie.
that was basically the reason why he got drafted. That was a single
Right?
play that
Like,
got
that's
him
the only
drafted.
reason not any of us knew
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic to think about, man. Because especially if they say it one way and then they're arguing the other, then that just totally disrupts the whole entire integrity of the league and the integrity of the rule book that is supposed to be written very precise, even though we all know it isn't, and there's some wiggle room in it.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that's what opens it up more when refs come in and talk why they do it. Whenever the league officials come out and say that no, this was the right call, it makes everybody wonder it a little bit more. But Eric Lewis, enjoy retirement, I guess, bud. Enjoy your life. That'll bring us into topic number 4, which is going to be social media disconnect and pro sports. So this is a topic that we talked about in some other streams, some other podcasts, with just how social media has taken its effect on not just sports and society, but inside the locker room, in a football locker room especially. That's something that is taken as special. Like, that's your family. When you're going out to play games and going out to war with football, you have to be close and have that brotherhood with one another. Now, in recent weeks, Matthew Stafford has came out and said that he is having a lot of trouble connecting with younger players. He has actually assigned some of his equipment staff personnel to print out a Facebook to help him remember everybody and try to understand their likes and dislikes. I don't know if it's a legit Facebook page or if he just has a picture of them and then some description that he can study over like a playbook because he can't interact with them. And then furthermore, in a podcast that Matthew Stafford's wife was in, she said that whenever they get finished up with whether it's film study, OTAs, practice, whatever it may be, that they go straight to their locker rooms, they hop on their phones, they call him sir, and they treat him more like a coach. And he wants them to understand we're all at the same level. We're both in the NFL.
We're all teammates,
It's definitely a little different because he's 10 years older than the majority of these guys that are coming in right now, so they look at him as a higher up, but in reality he's not a coach. He might be your leader, but he's not your coach. You want to go ahead and still have that type of connection between each other to where you're ready to go out and fight for each other, not to where you're scared to go up to him and ask him about something or just to talk BS. How do we think that this can affect sports in the locker room in the long run with social media and the younger generation?
So somebody who grew up without social media and pretty much was in the birth of everything that everybody uses right now. I've been around. I've seen the birth of all of it. So, literally seen the birth of everything. But there's definitely a difference from when I was younger to kids these days. Most kids are walking around with their head in their phones. Most of them don't even have the actual ability to hold a conversation sometimes. Not all of them, a lot of them, because they're too busy in their phones. The way they speak is in an abridged way, almost like how a courtroom stenographer types, because of how text culture is now creeping from not just the phones, but into everyday speech, but also in the schools, and teachers utilizing that to get to reach the kids, and they're making it where it's like, okay, that's acceptable. When they leave the high school or even college area and they go into the real world, that's not acceptable. It's a different world. You have to literally grow up from that. You still got to be able to manage your conversation ability or just yourself as a person or a human being when you're just trying to maneuver through the real world. I do think there's a slight disconnect, but as the way that he's doing it, it just seems a little different. I think that's also
it makes him even seem older.
Yes, yes.
It's that
and
it's almost that he is not willing to try and connect their way too, and that's where the bridge has to be. The bridges have to be gapped where, get them out and away from their phone, bring them out to dinner, take them out to Top Golf or whatever to get to know them and hang out. But you too, man, ask them, get on social media, get up, man, what's that TikTok, what's that thing you're doing? You got to bridge the gap of the communication and try to understand where they're coming from too. You know, we've seen this with a lot of veteran players. We've seen similar things with Aaron Rodgers last year, and I'm sure it's still kind of going on now, even though he's still in that honeymoon stage. We've seen it with some NBA players, older NBA players, and just trying to bridge that gap of communication. I mean, like you said, they're in their phones. A lot of people in the younger generation find that their safe places in their phone. I even catch myself doing it at times, and it's really the wrong thing to do. You know, you have to be able to express yourself, especially in a place like a football locker room where you're going out there to, you know, throw down some power on some people. You know, you're going to what they quote as war. Brad, what do you think about this whole thing? Like, is social media bad for football locker room? Can it be fixed, or what's going on?
God, there's such an in between with that, because I mean, you see about it from Matthew Stafford's standpoint when he got drafted into the league, which was 09. Facebook and MySpace were the big platforms.
Yeah, true.
MySpace was still a thing, kind of.
Yeah.
And a little bit, and Twitter was too. And now you have, as the year has gone on, the emergence of TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram have increased, and now you have guys who are making these things, making TikToks and stuff in the locker room. You have your Juju Smith-Schusters dancing on logos, like pissing off other players. And I mean, it's hard to think about.
I agree.
Like, and in that case, it's good. It's bad. Like you can do that and piss off another team very easily, or you can piss off your teammates because you have a video. You're posting a video of something, and your teammates are doing something that they don't want the world to see.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like, oh, you can delete video? No, they're not. They're gonna post it everywhere, and everyone's gonna see it everywhere. But at the same time, for players nowadays, this is how they get their names out. This is how they get, and this is not the NIL deals. This is how they get deals with other places. This is how they market themselves to maybe have their own brand start up and increase their own market themselves. So it's really, like I said, it's really just an in between for either one. I think Matthew Stafford should not say grow with the times here, but maybe try to relate to them on a different level. I'm not saying make a TikTok account and start doing stupid dances everywhere you go. But
there definitely has to be a bridge of the gap where it's kind of it has to be a give and take relationship. I mean, as you get older, you get a little more ornery, you get a little more stuck in your ways. You don't want to do things that the younger crowd does, but there's still a emphasis, especially as a quarterback, to make it your number one priority to have connection with your younger players. You are the leader of the team. You have to be that guy. So you got to go in and out of your way sometimes to make that connection worth something. And if you're still having trouble disconnecting, man, he probably has children. Ask your children to ask them for some dang advice. There's ways to get around it. But at the same time, you'd like to see the younger generation, just leave the phones in the locker for a little bit, hang out, because I know those facilities have Xboxes, PlayStations, ping pong, pool. They have all that stuff. Interact, have fun, and get to know each other that way. I do want to say before we keep going forward, Charles, my brother, appreciate you, man, for the $16.99. Much love to you, brother. And just get into a couple of these guys. So we do like to hold away from chats till the end of these podcasts, but I'll touch these real fast since I had to stop. Gotta love the Baldy Zach celebration monetized again finally. Nate, shut your mouth. Let's see. Let's go ahead and you got anything else to say on this topic now?
Yeah, I think part of it when you read the article and see or the information from his wife, right? To seeing what he says about the disconnect. Part of that is actually his own fault. If you're not man enough in a situation to speak to your players and say, look, I know that the way you guys approach me, I don't want to feel like I'm just some coach on the sideline or just some old dude that's in the locker room that's about to get pushed out. He needs to speak up. It's just like in a friend group. If you feel like you're not being validated, you need to speak up. Speak up, period. Because if you don't, that disconnection is not just going to be on the sidelines. It's going to continue and be on the field because you're not going to see eye to eye. He just needs to talk. And then as far as like the younger kids and the younger players in the locker room, some of that stuff is like the whole TikTok culture is just you're doing too much. Like, one, you're doing too much. Like, if you if you come in the locker room and your first thing to do is put on a song that nobody really cares about, but it's hot on TikTok, and you're gonna dance to it instead of celebrating with your teammates, your priorities in the wrong place.
It's like you gotta. I don't know.
I do agree with you where there is a fine line, but everybody has to be able to try to find it together. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I completely agree. I mean, but like there's also this thing where he's not liking how players are calling him sir and stuff like that. Like, man, you are the 15-year vet in the NFL. You are probably the most beat up quarterback in the league right now. They're not doing it because you're old. They're doing it because they respect the hell out of you.
And
everyone remembers that play where you dislocated your shoulder, said, "I'm going back in," and you threw a touchdown with your left hand. Like, it's respect.
And the thing with it too is if you get called sir, you don't like it. Be like, hey, bro, don't call me that. Like, it's not that hard to fix. Like, hey, bro, I ain't just sir. I ain't your daddy, your teacher. Like, I'm your quarterback. like, come on, let's go play ball. Stop playing with me. But to move on from that, let's go into topic number 5, which is about prime time. Mr. Deion Sanders. Oh my goodness, Nan, take it away.
Deion, primetime Sanders.
This one is all this basically for us is talking about the game that Deion Sanders in Colorado. They played against TCU number 7. They were ranked number 17 at the time, and they pretty much outcoached them and outplayed them in Fort Worth, Texas, and ended up defeating the last season's opponent to win the national championship 45-42. Now, most people definitely didn't see them doing this. No, I mean, a lot of people was going against them. Most people just the ones who supported Deion because it's Deion. It's prime time. So people are like, if anybody can do it, it's prime time. If anybody can turn around a team that almost lost 8 games last season. They almost like 8 or 9 games.
No, they were 1-11 last season.
It was 1-11. I was thinking that, but I wasn't sure. So the fact that they came in to beat TCU, which TCU for me, I've seen them a lot because at Fresno State we've usually played them quite a bit, and they're usually a mid-tier team that plays really well, and that just shows how well Deion Sanders had this team prepared for this first game. It doesn't say that they're going to run the table and beat everybody else. It just they were very well prepared for this game. I mean, I thought it was interesting when you look at some of the comments from other players that's from TCU. They obviously were distraught and pissed because even let's see, where is it at? I was looking at an article, a quote from Johnny Hodges.
Exactly which one you're talking about.
Johnny Hodges, who was being interviewed by ESPN. He's like, I guess I'll just read it verbatim. So I guess you could say it's kind of a wake up call. He said, I don't know how losing a national championship by 60 isn't a wake up call. He said, right now we're definitely the laughingstock of college football, having 22 missed tackles, having who knows how many missed assignments, making our defensive coordinator look awful. He said, just making his defense look like a childhood kid's defense. And it's which they did.
That comment is so disrespectful.
It is, but at the same time, there's a lot of truth to it.
I mean, the thing
they
is,
lost, the wake up 60 losing by 60 was a wake up call.
I mean, yeah, but he's basically saying they're like, we're the laughing stock because we lost to Colorado. It's like,
but that's how big teams think about it.
You're comparing Colorado to like you just lost to an FBS school. Like, this is a team that, first of all, coach who turned around Jackson State completely and made them a known program.
And just to butt in, the Deion effect, was kind of proven once again because once Deion left, Jackson State got destroyed this past weekend as well. They went from a team that was dominant in their division to they got destroyed. I mean, they played against a higher level school, but still, I think they lost like 28-3 or something like that.
They lost.
But go ahead.
Yeah, they lost the second game. I think they won. They won the first game, I think. But
but like the fact that you were gonna sit there on national TV and say, "Yeah, we're the laughing stock. We lost to Colorado," basically saying that they weren't really anything. We kind of just embarrassed ourselves. Like you didn't embarrass yourselves. You got outplayed and out.
Oh, you got outplayed.
Just completely. Were torn apart on every level of the game to where 4 players had over 100 yards of offense, and one of them, which went onto defense, shut down your wide receiver
Travis
and got an interception at the goal line.
Well, I mean, yeah, but Travis though, coming out of high school, he was the number one player in the country. So when Dion saw him, he knew that he can play both sides in college, and so Dion's training him up to be a future version of him. That's really what he's doing, because he had the potential to do it. You know what I'm saying? Travis he had 100 yards on offense. He had a couple pass breakups. Did he have an interception?
He did. He had that nice interception at the goal line where he dived.
Yes.
Like,
he dived like four yards to get it.
And everything, but
absolutely
look at that play. They're playing man coverage. He abandoned his guy because he read the quarterback so well and jumped that route. And I mean, hear what the commentator said. It was insane.
Yeah, yes. Go ahead, Zach.
There's 3 players that obviously need to be talked about off of this game. That's one, the guy we're talking about here, which is Travis Hunter. Yeah. He played a total of 144 snaps. He played both on offensive and defensive side. He scored a touchdown and an interception. I don't remember how many yards he had exactly, but it was up there. I think he
19 with 11 receptions, and I think actually his touchdown got called back.
Yes, he had a 60-yard touchdown that got called back off of offensive foul or something like that. There was a couple things that
I think it was 2 touchdowns that got called back then because I saw one that was an insane catch on the sidelines.
I'm sorry. I lied. He dropped one. He dropped the 60-yard touchdown pass. That's what it was. So he had a chance to get some more, icing on that cake. And Travis Hunter, this dude is just phenomenal. He came back after the game, and during his interview, he said, "Oh no, I'm ready to play another game." He was making TikTok videos after the game. He goes and answers questions and stuff like that on his TikTok channel. And was saying, like, nah, I just love football. Like, I don't care. Like, I was ready to play another game on both sides of the ball. I wasn't tired. I was ready. He said, I love it this much. He said, I told y'all I want to be a Heisman candidate. He said, that's my standard, and that's how I'm going to play. And he said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. So, in saying that, I mean, congrats.
And honestly, I think Travis Hunter should be the favorite for the Heisman. No other player is doing what he is doing right now. And I mean, literally, nobody.
The next guy is Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback, the guy that everyone's like, why'd you bring him over to be the starting quarterback? He doesn't belong in this division. And Dion calls the announcer out because he tried to ask him an interview question. He goes, hold up. Aren't you the one that asked me why, was questioning my opinion on who should be here and who shouldn't be? Nah, you don't get to ask me questions. Nah, I keep receipts. You don't get to ask me questions. He threw 501 yards. It is not only a personal record for Shedeur Sanders, but it is also a Colorado record as well in his first ever game with Colorado.
So one of the interview questions too, there's a gentleman speaking to Dion, and he says, now that you've settled on Shedeur as your starting QB and he had this great game, he's like, wait, hold on. Settled? He said, I didn't settle. You're saying it? Also, he said, you're the same guy that I read your articles all throughout the summer about who I bring over. This is not nepotism. Yes, that's family, but it's not. He earned his position. Right. And the quarterbacks behind him, they haven't earned the right to be second tier. So he earned what he got. And I'm like, it's so bad that they see something, and because they're related, they instantly think, oh, it's because of nepotism. The kid was good in Jacksonville. Like, what? Yeah. Don't disrespect him because he came from a small school. That's just so wrong. It's bad writing. It's bad writing. And
it's definitely bad writing. It's agenda writing is what it is. You're trying to create a storyline and you're hoping you're right. So you're the guy that's like, oh, I told you so. Not because you actually believe it. I mean, Dion is a winner. He always wants to win. I mean, he's done it and proved it in many occasions. Yeah. Of course, you're going to give your fans some help. You might get him on the team, but whoever deserves to start is going to get it. He's a guy all about character building. So if he isn't good enough, he's going to be like, well, look, you need to work harder so you can be good enough. I'm not going to gift it to you because what kind of character you're going to develop if you're just giving everything because you know somebody? It don't work that way. Dion doesn't see it that way, and he's not going to have his family be like that.
Yeah, that's all Primetime does. He's trying to make these kids work and build. He's not trying to make football players. He's trying to build men.
Yeah,
He's trying to build men who have respect for not just for themselves, for women, for higher ups, for everything. Like, he's not making just football players. He is trying to get these kids ready for the real life.
Yeah.
That is why Deion Sanders is by far one of the better coaches.
Yep.
If he doesn't have all the wins, whatever. He doesn't care. I don't think he wants to win. I don't doubt that.
Oh, yeah.
But he wants to impact these kids' lives, and that's exactly what he is doing.
And truth be told, every coach in the U.S. should have that same mentality in the college ranks and high school
Especially
ranks
college
and Pee Wee leagues. Like, everybody should have that same, because yes, you would like your player to represent the school and go into either a big name college or to the pros, but at the same time, the percentage of players going from high school to college, from college to the pros, is less than 3%. So if that means there's thousands of kids. There's thousands of kids. I know it's wrong, it's just not a number. It's thousands of kids that don't make it. It's funny because I'm on my LinkedIn. I have so many of my friends who played at Fresno State that were on NFL teams for 3-4 seasons, and because of injuries or because other players better came out and took their spot, now they're construction owners. They're working at banks and they're insurance guys. They still got to teach them what happens after football if football doesn't continue for them. So I respect that.
So the stat behind that, what you said about high school players, there are over 1 million high school players.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, 1 million. 1.7% of those kids will go to college and play D1, D2, D3. After that, after all NCAA athletes, specifically NCAA football players, less than 0.5% will make it into the NFL. There have been enough NFL players since the birth of the league over 100 years ago. There is enough to maybe fill a quarter of the Superdome. That's how many NFL players have been. That's how many players have made it into the NFL and had careers. So you got to stop pushing. Like, coaches need to stop pushing it like it's football or nothing. No, it's not. If you're great at football, pursue the hell out of it. Be great at it, but make sure you are ready when it's all over, because as every player has said, the NFL doesn't stand for the National Football League. It stands for not for long.
Exactly. And then the third guy I do want to mention as well is a guy that goes by Ben Fineseth. He's a safety. The reason why I want to talk about him, he did get an interception in the game, but he is one of the few players that was on the Colorado team that whenever Deion took over that said, y'all better go ahead and enter the portal. He did not. He arose to the occasion and decided he wanted to fight for his spot and try and belong here. Now, he didn't have a great game. He did have an interception, but he did have some missed coverages and different things like that. But, I mean, shout out to the guy to just stand up in front of all adversity. When you have a guy that comes in and says, hey, go to the portal now, I'm warning you. He isn't telling you to go because you're not going to make team. He's challenging your mental. How strong are you? Are you willing to fight for your spot that you think you belong? And most people are ready to jump ship. He went ahead and stayed, and he played this past weekend, so I thought that was really, really cool. But let's go ahead and move on to our sixth topic, which is going to be about Jonathan Taylor and head coach Jim Irsay.
Owner.
Owner Jim Irsay. So right now the situation between them two is, Jonathan Taylor is going to be out for a minimum of 4 weeks. He has been put into PUP, which is physically unable to play. He's currently looking for a trade. He's had conversations with the Dolphins. Most recently, he had conversation with the Green Bay Packers. And none of these things are working out. But before all of this, that kind of started this whole situation is a quote that Irsay said when asked about the running back situation in the NFL and how they value him. He said, if I die tonight and JT is out of the league, no one's going to miss us. So to come out and just say something so not just rude, but like cruel and just heartless like that about your star player, and then be aggravated that he's ready to leave. Why are you still a owner of a team? I mean, we know why, for the money. But like, what is y'all's thoughts on this whole situation?
Oh, I'd like to start on this one.
Go ahead.
I'd like to start on this one because this one absolutely pissed me off. I'm not like they're it's specifically in the running back position where the true disrespect is. Because everyone says it. The average lifespan of an NFL running back lasts maybe 5 seasons, if they can make it that far. Because at every position, the running back has probably taken at least top 3 the most abuse to the body.
Yes.
And you're going to sit there and basically say that there was going to be another running back. We can get somebody else. And you're not just going to say this in private. You said this in an interview on national TV that your own players are seeing, your coaches are seeing, your newly drafted rookie quarterback is seeing.
Your fans are seeing like that, and that's the thing too. It's like it's okay to think that, because I mean, all low down, we all understand the financial side of the ball, where it's it's a business.
NFL is a business.
Running backs do come and go. We haven't had a great run. Really, we haven't had a Hall of Fame running back since Adrian Peterson. That's like just a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. So like we understand what you're saying, but to act like they're just a piece of meat and they're just a part of this team, like first off, in your situation, JT was your team. For the last 2 years, he was your team. Right. He wasn't just a part. He was the only exciting thing about your team for the last 2 years. And you come out and say that. Don't say it in public. Sometimes it's just better to keep your mouth shut. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Keep the thing shut sometimes, and don't come out and just blatantly disrespect your players like that. It's not fair for Jonathan Taylor. And if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm full blown with him. Be on the PUP list for the whole entire season if that's what it takes. I don't care. My biggest issue with the whole situation is the fact that, they finally were like, oh, we'll let you get traded. We'll allow teams to start shopping you. But then you make his asking price so high to where no team can go get him. So you come out and admit that you don't value him as a player, but you want to value him as a player on your team, but you want to value him as far as giving him up. So you're basically just you're saying you can go do a trade, but you're just trying to screw them. You're trying to show them that the market isn't willing to pay for them, but you're asking for, I think they asked the Dolphins for Waddle and multiple first-round picks is a rumor that I heard. Come on.
That's pretty fair for a guy who was in the rain for MVP.
I mean, yes.
Not that long ago either. It was 2 years ago. He honestly should have won it if he didn't have that ankle injury.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But it's just the fact that like the asking price is so high. Like you're trying to get 2 first. You don't value him as a player, but you want to get a up and coming wide receiver 1 that has had a great career so far in his first 2 years. Then you want to go and steal multiple first round picks from the team as well, but you don't want to pay him. So it's either one or the other. It's either you are willing to take a deal to trade him away, or you're ready to pay the man. What is your thoughts on this whole situation, Nan?
I've said it since I'll probably say, I've said it for way too long. I do not like Irsay. I don't care. I can't stand the man. There's only a handful of people in existence in my time that I say I just don't like or I hate. He is one of them. He is clearly one of them. I think he is a poor representation of a human being. Honestly,
Jeez.
I don't like him. When I see him, I see used car salesman, and the way he talks like a used car salesman.
Wow,
he sells false dreams. Look at how Peyton Manning got injured because he didn't want to buy offensive line. Luck got injured because he didn't want to buy offensive line.
Early retired because he was so scared about his health.
Yes. Richardson's going to get injured because he doesn't want to buy offensive line.
People always bring up that Andrew Luck thing too.
Yeah, because
how he
retired
his fault right before the season.
Yeah, it's his fault.
He was sacked 162 times, but the other stat you don't see is quarterback hits, which was 362.
Yes.
I think the only higher quarterback was Matt Stafford.
Which is ridiculous. Somebody that talented.
We mentioned Matt Stafford with it, and what organization did he play for so long that no one respects in the league? Detroit. You know,
Yeah.
so they're in the same.
And
They're in
Detroit
the
has
same
sent
boat.
2 Hall of Fame players to end their career early.
When even when Rivers went over there to like help back up, the reason why he bounced so quick, he was like, I'm getting hit too much. I got 13 kids to
Yeah,
think
I
about.
mean,
I can't do this. I can't do this.
see,
Yeah.
that's the craziest thing about that. Like, the quarterback's the most important position in the league. At least everyone says it is.
Yeah.
And you're not going to beef up your offensive line. The Bengals did when they caused Joe Burrow to blow out his knee because they couldn't block. What did they do?
Yeah.
They went and got offensive linemen.
I mean-
they got weapons on offense for him.
And the thing
Like-
is, if you look back into those years, especially, why did the Patriots win so many games or won so many Super Bowls? Great offensive line, great defense. Why did the Saints win the Super Bowl that they did? Great offensive line, gave Breeze a lot of time to throw the ball. Matt
Breeze
Ryan
was
the
the
year,
least
even though they
black
lost
quarterback
it.
in the NFL.
Right, like offensive line is everything. You got to think a guy that's Peyton Manning that people argue to be a better quarterback than Tom Brady, but is less achieved accolades wise. And you'd wonder if they would have actually built up a line for him, and he wouldn't have had to go through the neck injuries and the shoulder injuries that he did. You know, what would the amount of Super Bowls between them two been divided a little bit differently? Because he goes over to Denver for 2 years. And goes and wins the Super Bowl because they finally gave him a line during the worst of his career,
And
the worst time of his career. Yeah,
Yeah, when his arm was shot, and he was
Not
gone.
only did he go, not only did he win, he went twice in 2 seasons.
Yes,
yeah.
but that's just proof that the issue wasn't him. The issue is whatever was happening in Indianapolis, and that is a result.
Without a doubt.
That's a result of Irsay. Irsay is the problem. It sucks that the coach. You can tell the coaching staff is on a short leash. Everybody's on a short leash but him, and it's his team. I understand that. You know, but just like with Washington, I always felt that certain teams, Detroit the same way. I always felt that certain teams they only have teams because they get tax write-offs every first quarter, and I'm like, this is BS. It's BS.
Yeah,
I completely agree. I mean, the thing is, like, they say the quarterback is the most important position. The quarterback is the driver's seat of the offense. The engine is the offensive line.
Oh, so true. So true.
Because without a good line, I mean, look, like Peyton Manning even has said it himself. Without Jeff Saturday, he may have not been as great as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are only as good as your offensive line. And I'm sure Adrian Peterson would say the same thing, being a 2,000-yard rusher who had the best rush line in the league that year, the Minnesota Vikings.
People don't understand how important the QB center exchange really is when it comes to NFL. That synergy between those two players, if it's off by even a centimeter, that team's going to fail. They're going to fail.
People don't understand how important the longevity is of a quarterback for just their tackles.
Yeah. They don't.
Ergo, Alex Smith, Joe Theismann, both careers ended early.
Man,
yep.
People don't get it, and I think he's one of those people. And I
don't think it's that he doesn't get it. I think he doesn't
care.
He doesn't care. It's a difference.
That's what I think. I think he does not care.
Guys. He's making billions off their name.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he definitely cares.
Jonathan Taylor jersey sells. Guess who's seeing some of that money? Him.
Yeah.
And so to wrap this up, two questions. First question, where would you like to see Jonathan Taylor play this season? It doesn't have to be one that he already has had a conversation with, but where would you like him to play?
I don't know. Didn't think about that earlier. Let me see.
I kind of put you on the spot on this one.
Ooh, a team that I want to see Jonathan Taylor on? Actually, that's kind of simple. I want to see him with a division rival.
A division
rival? I want to see him go to Jacksonville.
That would be nice.
I want to see him go to Jacksonville.
Him with Trevor?
And Jonathan Taylor as that running back core. I don't want to see him with the Texans. I still don't like the Texans, how they're run as an organization. Just what they did with Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. If they were to change ownership, because I like the Texans. I've respected that team with their short time in here. But they haven't shown to me how they are run that if I as a player I don't know if I can trust that.
I personally think that's going to change this year, just because how
I
they
think
went
it
out
is,
and
too. I
actually
think-
grabbed the players that they wanted this draft. But that's besides the point. I really do like the
Yeah.
Jaguars thing. And I said this before they even had talk with the Dolphins. I told Nan, I
Yeah, I
said,
was just
bro,
thinking
imagine
the
if he would have
Dolphins,
went to the Dolphins, because all Dolphins are missing on that offense is a good run game. They've been trying to make it work with Mostert and the other guy that I always forget is Jeff Wilson. Thank you, Mostert and Jeff Wilson. And it just doesn't work. But whenever Tua was out, they would run the ball with him. They looked complete. If they had a running back one that they fully trusted, like a Jonathan Taylor, man, they would. That division of football would be really fun between them, the Jets, and the Bills. It'd be really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I definitely think he would look. The Jacksonville one I think will be a great.
If I'm Jonathan Taylor and I just let my contract run up, I go to a division rival because they want you.
Hell
yeah.
Yes.
They want to pay
and I'll tell you what,
if there's any team that's going to pay you, it's going to be Jacksonville or it's going to be Texans because they have the best cap space.
And I'll tell you what, the some fans will hate him, just like some fans still give. Oh goodness, we just Andrew Luck some crap about retiring midseason, but a lot of players will respect him and understand, because I think a lot of fans right now are starting to really open up to what's going on with this organization and how they truly feel about.
People are finally seeing it,
yeah, their ownership. And then the last question is going to be, if he is not traded, do you think he should suit up, and do you think he will, or do you think he will suit up for the Colts?
I think if I'm him and I feel as disrespected as he should feel, even to the point with them having him on the pump and saying his ankle one week, then they say it's his back another week, and how they're just constantly lying about that, I'm not suiting back up for you guys.
If I'm him, honestly, I may just do it for the fans. Like, show.
I can see that.
If I'm Jonathan Taylor, show the fans I love y'all. I love how y'all come and support me and the team. I'm gonna do it for you guys. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do my best. But after that, it's sayonara.
Sayonara, yeah. Kind of final little walkthrough, man. You know, the way I think about it too is, I just definitely would not play a single snap unless I'm 100%, not 80, not 90, not 95, not 98. I'm only playing unless I'm 100% healthy. That's the only way I'm getting on that field. If you want to risk and talk about my money and risk my career, then I'm not going to, I'm not going to take up any type of risk that could end my career in the NFL. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, exactly. 'Cause at the end of the day, I get everyone says it's a game. It's also a business, and the business move here is I'm sitting.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, Ursay, I'm just not a fan. And even to a little point, what you said about Luck in his last games, man, the fans there, that was a bad situation. They booed that man.
Oh, they booed the hell out of him. Yeah, I saw a thing yesterday about it. And it was actually a fan that was getting interviewed, and he said, I was at that game, and he said, I was part of the boos. And he said, and then I realized what actually was going on. Excuse me. He said, I realized what was actually going on, and I had instant regret.
You should.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely should. Like, Andrew Luck was getting his ass handed to him every single time. Every single week, he was getting drilled into the ground.
He was looking like David Carr when Carr was with the Texans when they became that expansion team. That's how he was looking. How he was looking.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was tough.
Because quarterback hits is a stat line for defensive linemen, but it's not a stat line for a quarterback.
It should be a stat line for a quarterback.
It should be. It's a stat line for a whole offensive line, but it's not a stat line for a quarterback. Only stat line for a quarterback is how many times he got sacked. Not how many times he got hit on each play.
Right, and they try to, and we've talked about this before and other things, and I doubt it'll ever happen because it's just too much logistics that goes into it. But there should be a issue between, like, when a quarterback throws an interception, whether it's his fault or if it's the wide receiver's fault, and then if he gets sacked, is it his fault because he held on to it too long, or is it the O-line's fault? That definitely needs to be something that needs to be evaluated, or at least put into thought.
You can tell, though. You can tell when you watch a game. It's the O-line's
You can,
fault.
but when you look at the end of the season and you look at those stats, it's like, oh man, he threw 17 interceptions. That's bad. I can't remember. There was a player that happened to. It was Patrick Mahomes last year at the beginning of the season. There were so many so
Oh
many
yeah.
interceptions that he thrown that was just not his fault. It just wasn't his fault at all. Balls right in the money, Bob popped up, intercepted and stuff like that. It made Pat look bad, and people were like, "Oh, the end of Patrick Mahomes," and everybody's like, "Why y'all trying to run with this narrative? Did y'all not watch the games?
Right?
Because
I feel like
he didn't throw bad passes. Like the receivers just were missing the damn things, you know."
that should be a stat line to where it's an interception, but it's also a fumble for the wide receiver.
Yeah, something has to be changed with it.
It should be.
It's got to be either or, because I completely agree. I've seen a game where there's been 2 interceptions because of batted balls up in the air.
There it is. So that brings us into our second to last topic, WNBA commercial flights. Tell me about this, man, because when you told me the other day, I was just in shock that they've went this low.
So
Yes,
the
it is.
WNBA is yeah, like you said, they're at a new low where, unfortunately, the way they do their things, the unlike NBA, NFL, even college can afford to go charter. WNBA can't afford to go charter to all games. Many of their games they actually fly commercially, which means they fly sitting down with regular attendees to the airport, which is kind of crazy. So just the other day there was a memo that was sent down from WNBA, an internal memo that pretty much got leaked out. It says the teams that this week clarifying its stipulations for postseason travel, including scenarios in which teams might need to fly commercially. And so what they're doing is the WNBA, they're back to a new tier system for the playoffs. Before it was just a one and done situation. Now it's a best of 3 for the first initial series, and for the semifinals and the finals is a best of 5. Now for those games, if a team gets their first 2 games and they pretty much lock it down where that series is over, that team has an option. They can either fly back home, charter, or they can be flown to the next opponent charter. But if they chose to get flown back home charter, the second flight to go to the next game, they have to fly commercially.
Yep. So
which is kind of crazy to me.
This is the biggest mind-blowing thing about it for me is that out of all years, this year is the time to go ahead and show some respect to sports, female sports, women's sports, because you've had one of the best NCAA women's championships, big March Madness, whatever, tournaments probably ever. It's been so long. I've never seen so many people locked into women's basketball like in my whole time of watching sports. I mean, it was just there was drama that was created between picking sides of 2 teams, picking sides of the 2 different players. Some of it got a little crazy, but there's not going to be great debates and conversation without always having a couple wild people that just take it a little too far. Yeah. But that's what made it fun, and the WNBA is just consistently going in the wrong direction when it comes to making their sport relevant again. I mean, come on, guys. This is the time where you can make everything great, and now all I'm thinking about is, why would I watch them if they have so little respect towards the athletes? I'm not saying that, I'm not all in the whole board of they need to get paid equally as men and stuff like that, but I think they should get paid a fair wage, fair percentage, and all that stuff. But the fact that you're making professional players that dedicate their time, that already have to go play overseas just in order to afford their bills and stuff like that, and have situations that have come up where they've had trouble getting back over, and then now you're going to say they got to fly commercially with other fans and random families and babies crying and all this other BS. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, earlier this year in April, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert announced that the league would have charter flights for all postseason games. Now, all of a sudden, with the end of the season coming down to this last week right now and the playoffs starting in a few weeks from now, all of that's starting to change. It's like you said in April, you promised the entire league we're going to do for the playoff, at least for the postseason, we're going to do charter. Now it's just like, okay, well, we can do charter, but we can only do it for half of your flights. Come on, man. Where's the money going? They are making money. So where's the money? There's advertising dollars. All of their damn jerseys. Where's the money going?
They're making some money, but it's also they're not spending their money in the right places. Like we said, they've had perfect opportunities to market this thing and make it bigger. I know they're not going to go ahead and get, all the games put up on ESPN or these main market things every single week, but we have not seen any type of expanding of their marketing or publicity of this organization. after having such a great NCAA tournament to where like they didn't even make a post congratulating the winners or anything like that, or even showing highlights like, oh, you know, you could have took a highlight from both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and say, oh, what WNBA team would you like to see him on? You know what kind of comments that would make, what kind of feedback and audience that would bring in, but they did none of that. So where are you putting your money into if we don't ever see anything posted about the WNBA unless you're following a WNBA channel? So you're not paying money. There's already promotion things on every single social media website that you can pay X amount of dollars so it has an outreach to so many people to give them a look, and we don't see any of it. So where like you said, where's this money going?
Well, I mean, so I think they pretty much put close to $4 million into charter flights for the 2023 season, which I definitely know that can't be enough. It can't be enough for all the teams. I know it's not the same amount of teams as the NBA, but it can't be enough. And then the crazy thing about it, so some of these players they have good sponsorships, they have, you know, the good deals where they can probably as a group pay for their own charter, right?
Yeah.
Well, the rules for this in the CBA agreement, individual teams are not permitted by the CBA to pay for their own charters. Wow. So if you're not going to do it, why can't we do it? If we decide if we're the Las Vegas Aces and we're the number one team of the division, been the number one team the last 3 years, we've won the last 2 titles. If we come together and say we want to do it, or, you know, if I'm Kelsey, my husband says he wants to pay for the plane for us, we can't do it.
I mean, the only thing I can think of the reason for that is just because of, like you said, maybe they have, maybe one of them makes more money, like Candace Parker, who, you know, works with, you know, different networks and stuff like that, to where they are going to have an unfair advantage because she might be able to get a nicer charter and nicer this, nicer all that, so it makes an unfair advantage. So I can see possibly that aspect of things, but it's still just odd. I mean, Brad, what is your thoughts on the whole situation?
I mean, frankly, I think when it comes to the WNBA, maybe they aren't making enough because the viewerships isn't nearly as much. But I don't know, the past couple of years, the emergence of women's sports has gone up.
Yeah,
it's on the rise for sure.
I mean, I saw it especially, like y'all said, with that March Madness with Iowa versus LSU. Everyone was talking about Caitlin starting Angel Reese.
That's always
everyone was talking about that.
And for a month afterwards as well. It didn't like the tournament. The conversation.
It didn't die off.
That was a huge deal. But even some of these kids have talked about it. Why would I want to go to the WNBA? I'm going to make more money on my NIL deals than playing for the WNBA.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, the case is that the viewership isn't that strong. It's not. Now, I mean, it's on it from what I've seen, it's on the upward trend, but they still don't show them the same respect as they do with NBA players. I mean, do y'all remember the bubble situation back in 2020?
Mm-hmm.
The men had that huge, nice gym, and then the women had that little 5 yoga mats and dumbbells that went to like 8 pounds.
They had to practice in the lobby of the hotel. Like it was crazy, bro.
Exactly. Like women's sports is getting more and more popular every year. I mean, everyone's currently talking about Shakira Richardson, who broke the 100-meter record.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she killed it too.
She did. And, you know, the thing with it all is, you know, obviously we don't have a look at where their books are and stuff like that, but it's not like there's been many opportunities for the WNBA to try and take a big leap, you know, as far as a organization, all this stuff. But if there's any time that I'm willing to go ahead and make a risk, it would have been this past year. Like, this is the time that I would have made the risk to try and spend a little bit more money that you might you know, screw yourself up on in the future, but like as a business, you have to, or you're just going to remain the same, and it's going to continue to be a laughing stock. And the problem with that is because the professional level is looked at as a laughing stock in the U.S., it makes even the college level look like a laughing stock. It makes these females athletes look lesser than what they actually are. It makes their talent look not as good as what they actually are. It makes people not appreciate the greatness that they go and put into their sport, into their craft every single day during games and practices. So it's just a full disrespecting towards, you know, women in general, women athletes in general.
If you're the commissioner here, you have to show these athletes that you care.
That you care.
Like, you have to show, like, we value you as professional players within our organizations, that we're going to do what we can to give you, those nice things that the NBA gets. And when you had said earlier, like, even the players themselves can't even put money together to charter it, and the WNBA is basically saying, like, it's either you take what we give you or you don't get anything.
Yeah,
Is
basically.
showing more disrespect to showing more disrespect to these women that are still putting in the time, like the men are still, taking time away from their families to perfect their craft, to make your organizations, to make your league
And for
look
less
good,
money.
and for less money, and you're not even gonna put in a couple million. I mean, a couple million is a lot, but
Yeah.
for a big organization like this,
No, it should be
to
a
just
lot.
get some charter flights,
It's
you're
like
gonna
some
make
people.
them fly like they're a high school team.
It's like
Some high school
it's
teams
like
get charter flights.
Right.
Yes.
It's the thing
Yes.
is that some people just honestly need to be fired. It's really the way I look at it. Like
Facts.
if it's your marketing team, if it's your lawyers, your negotiations, stuff like that. Like if you don't have enough money coming in, then go out and go get more sponsors. This year should have been the time where you can go grab more sponsors because of. I keep repeating it, but because the NCAA and the explosion of that and how other women's sports and just women's sports in general is becoming more and more accepted as we get into. That's probably the one good thing about how, how society is changing and stuff like that is people are finally starting to get their respect regardless of gender, race, anything like that. This is the time to go ahead and pounce on that and have your lawyers or your negotiators go up to different companies and be like, look, this is how it's going to be worth it to you. It's like I could write up a couple of ideas. You're telling me people that aren't hired for it, that know all the numbers and everything, can't go and write up these same exact contracts and have these same meetings and host these with these possible sponsors and stuff like that to bring more money into the company. Instead, you want to remain the same until you just eventually run out of money and die off.
I mean, when you look at it, where House of Highlights, Ball is Life, all these different social media platforms are able to promote women's sports better than the professionals, that's something wrong with that. There's something totally wrong with that. And it's not like I know House of Highlights and Balls Life now might have budgets, but not like a WNBA budget. And even in an interview with Angel Reese, they even asked her, and I forgot her point guard too. They asked both of them. They was sitting down with them, and they asked if at the end of this season, do we see Angel Reese going into the WNBA? And she was like, most likely no. She said, because what I get paid right now to just be a student and and play basketball, I make more than some of the players in the league, and it's true. They show some of the statistics. Some of the women's players in college are making more than WNBA players.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like, companies are making these college women paid more than your professional athletes who played in college and now have gone up, but NIL has made it to the point where now everyone's making more than a WNBA player. Even offensive linemen for Texas are making like 60 to 50K, probably more. I mean,
oh no, they're making more than that.
Exactly. Like NIL is only showing it more that, like, for at least the WNBA standpoint, you're still not trying to do something to make it better lives for your players. That's fine. All these other companies are going to take these kids who are still in college, who are still trying to study for English 101, and we're going to make them millionaires. Yeah. And they're going to make our company even more.
To be honest, what I hope to see, and just to wrap this topic up, is I just hope to see screw WNBA, have another sports company come out and create a competitive professional league for women's sports. We've seen it with the organization being has followed. I'm forgetting their name now.
I didn't think he's gonna talk about them because I don't have their name on top of my head.
Yeah, I know. It slipped my mind too. But we've watched them, and they're big advocates for women's sports. They do basketball, they do volleyball, they do, I think, softball, lacrosse, and all kind of different things like that. I think it's ASU. I think is what it's called.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up, but
I think so. Yeah.
I
forgot what it's called.
But regardless, I hope a company like that comes out and just makes WNBA not a thing, and then kind of start from scratch. 'Cause I think WNBA is just not willing. They're competent and happy with where they are, and not ready to go ahead and take the next step to go anywhere else. But let's see, able to find the name.
Hold on, I'm trying to
Yeah, I know.
wait for the computer to.
It's like athletic
I forgot what it's called.
athletes unlimited. That's what it is.
Okay, I was thinking F's United. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I was trying to look it up.
Yeah, athletes unlimited is what it's called. So I hope some company like that goes ahead and just takes over and they become the new place to go for women's sports, because they've actually gone out and have made big moves. I see them on ESPN more than I see WNBA on ESPN nowadays, which is crazy
so
to think
true.
about.
That is so true.
Very true. But that'll be the last topic, but we are going to go ahead and have one final thing that we're going to go ahead and try to end every single podcast with, which is going to be our fan moment of the week. And if you haven't seen this one, it is just absolutely hilarious. This is I believe he's not an Astros fan. He's an Asteroids fan. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
That's right. Forgot about that.
So tell us about that play and how it developed.
So pretty much, I'm out here with my son. This is our first ever game. We just moved here to Houston literally in January, and I just wanted to make the moment special for him. As a father, I feel like it's my job to make sure that I give him the best moments. I apologize to the Astro organization. I didn't know it. Y'all gotta understand, when it's dropping down, it looked like it's coming directly to you. So I reached, and my body went for what I know. But we did have a wonderful moment.
Okay, so you reach out, and what was the reaction that you heard right after the play was over?
The reaction was shock, disgust, happiness, sweat, a little bit of lust, baby. You feel me? I was in there feeling kind of hurt, but my fingers still shaking a little bit. The ball way heavier with the gravity. I'm not gonna lie to you. Charlie Ray, we're gonna be on TV, baby.
So
He just laughed.
It looked like that you went away for a bit, and then you came back. How'd you talk your way back?
So, truthfully, Houston loves me, and I love Houston, and they cannot stop me from supporting the Asteroids. So
The Asteroids.
Asteroids.
Real quick on them, but they wasn't listening, so I showed some love. And they really were just trying to make sure that I wasn't hurt, and that making sure that we didn't go off the rails. So salute to the whole organization, great staff. They made sure that I was healthy and I was enjoying the game. They wasn't even making it serious.
Hi.
Oh, get that
That's too
Chick-fil-A
funny.
off of here. How do we get rid of that? My boy said, my boy called them the Asteroids. He wanted to let y'all know that that ball is heavier with the gravity on it. He said his finger was still hurting. And, and just a little bit of lust, man. Just a little bit of lust, baby. But we're going to go ahead and keep on going for a little bit longer, but that is the official wrap-up of today's podcast, week number 2 of This Week in Sports. I appreciate you all for tuning in, joining us. Brad, appreciate you for joining us for week 2. Hope to have you back again another time. If y'all haven't already, we got a link in the bottom for Brad's Instagram channel. MBS is the channel, Mind, Body, and Soul Fitness, so make sure y'all go and check that out. If y'all want to go ahead and take part in the conversation live with us, we do these live streams every Wednesday for our This Week in Sports podcast, and join in on the conversation as well as the after talk. Please come find us, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch y'all there. But now that this is kind of all wrapped up, Hal, I see there's some couple comments. Y'all want to go through the comments a little bit, the chats? I'm going to go use the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Shit, I was about to use the bathroom.
Oh, you're going to go use the restroom? All right, you go first. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Real quick, for MBS, please
Yes, go
go
for it.
and follow it. It is something me and my girlfriend have started up, and we're really passionate about. It's all about mental health and spreading awareness on it. So please go give it a follow, share with your friends. I want to do this to make sure I can help as many people as I can.
Yes, sir. We need that, man. Nate says Zach fighting for women's equality can't even get his wife on RFS. Come on, guys. We're not married yet, Nate. But look, she wants to talk her mess like she wants to come on. I know she doesn't want to come on. She don't want to be bothered. She knows she's always welcomed. I always ask her, "Do you want to record a video? Do you want to join us live?" She's like, "I don't know." Bubba came in. What's up, Bubba? Welcome to the channel. Said you guys are lost in this topic. College basketball is big because of the college. I'm not saying that the college doesn't have a lot to do with it, but when it boils down to the conversation is that college promotes it more. If WNBA promoted it more and showcased some of these talented female athletes, then we could be seeing it both ways. Obviously, stadiums are going to get filled more often in college, especially when it comes to tournament times. I mean, everybody around campus is hearing and talking about it, so I get that. But the viewership on TV it doesn't always mean the same thing. I mean, you're talking about games that were watched nationwide, not just statewide of whoever was playing. The NCAA championship this past year wasn't just watched by people that lived in Iowa and in Louisiana. It was watched all around the country. Even all around the world in some other countries. So, when you're saying that that we're totally off because the colleges the games are only big because of the colleges, I don't think that's true. If the players sucked, people just wouldn't watch. The players were good. Yeah. I mean, you had Caitlin Clark raining threes from nowhere. You had trash talk. You had emotions flying. You had a little too dramatic at times, but Malky, coming and coaching, going all over the damn place. Yeah, the storyline that was developed between it, people started researching the history of these players and where they came from. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot that goes into it.
I mean, there was a lot to that, especially that's LSU's first national championship, appearance. Kim can be in her second season with us, coming and getting us a ring, and you can't really say it's because of the college because. Who else cares about Iowa anything? They're not that good at football. I mean, when it comes to LSU, everyone knows, LSU, but when it comes to Iowa, not really. Iowa's a smaller name school. The only thing they're really known for is that their stadium overlooks their children's hospital for cancer overlooks the football field, and at halftime, the entire stadium waves at the kids. I'm pretty sure it is Iowa.
What are you talking
about? Bubba's comment. Where was it? I just had it pulled up.
The college basketball is big because of college. Yeah, we went. If you would have seen most of the conversation, it really wasn't about college. College was thrown there because part of the equation of what we were talking about. What we're actually talking about was WNBA. WNBA was the focus of that conversation. College, we actually all support how college is doing because college is blowing up on, especially in women's sports. It's getting bigger and bigger every year, almost to the point where more people know college women athletes than WNBA athletes.
Yes, they do.
Colleges have better marketing programs, I guess.
I mean, the NCAA tries to do everything they can to get these kids seen and known. I mean, the NCAA is $1 billion organization too. And they make God knows how much money off of them.
Oh, a lot.
They probably make a little bit more now with these NIL stuff. But I mean, I've supported the NIL deals for a long time. I just didn't expect to this extent that it already is now.
Oh, I knew as soon as they hit. I knew as soon as they hit. Go ahead.
No, you good. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I knew as soon as they approved it, because I knew California was gonna do it first. Because the California been talking about it for over 20 years, but I knew as soon as they approved it, it was gonna go crazy. Because people don't understand. They have been waiting for this. This has been a topic of discussion behind closed doors, probably since the 80s.
Yeah,
and that is because people don't understand how much money flows through hands that's not accounted for when it comes to college sports. And it's so much money. It's like when you look at teams and their sponsors, pay attention to who sponsors them, because sometimes the way that some of these teams that have some teams have casinos that sponsor them.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
That's big money. That's big money.
These contracts have been in discussion because those things don't just happen overnight, regardless. I mean, I'll tell you what was weird though. Was I was watching the Florida State LSU game. It's definitely weird watching college quarterbacks wearing iced out chains around their neck.
Oh
Jaden had a big ass iced out Cuban link chain. I didn't see what his little thing. I'm assuming it was just his number or something. And I was like, what the heck? It made me feel so weird. I was like, oh god.
College players are getting paid so much now. And I mean, I was behind the NIL stuff because I want to see these kids go and try to be able to make money off their name because, the NCAA, ESPN make billions off their names. They don't
Oh,
see
yeah.
it. They never saw a dime of it. I mean, I had one instance when I helped run a charity auction, and they had to wait a couple months to do it because they wanted stuff. They wanted something from Joe Burrow, but he couldn't do it until he finished the season off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's like players can't even do that, but banks and stuff can, use their names and likeliness to try to market themselves. Like a bank at Baton Rouge did that when Devin White was suspended. There was billboards everywhere of like, Devin White, we want him back on the field because he was suspended for a game. And he didn't see a time of it.
The how bad that really is before the NIL about players receiving what they call benefits. If you work for a college, or you don't even have to work for a college. If you know an athlete, doesn't matter what sport they're in, most likely football gets targeted more than anybody else. But if you work for any program, or if you're a friend of somebody, if you're at the school together, right, and that person asks for a pencil or a pen, that's considered a gift. That is considered a gift. So they have to give it back to you. If they don't give it back to you, technically that's a gift, and that is a finable action by the NCAA. Players, what's crazy is people think, oh, well, they get scholarships. Scholarship just covers school. That's it. It doesn't always depending on the size of the school, it doesn't always cover books. It doesn't cover anything else, and they can't work. If you're on scholarship, you can't work. So if you can't work, how do I pay for my rent? How do I pay for my phone? How do I pay for my electricity? How do I pay for my internet to do my homework?
See, that's what pisses me off when it comes to that, because people always say they get full rides, they get free food, they get a house over their head, they get free education. All right, is the school paying their car note? Or if they want to get an apartment, they want to live on campus, they got to pay that electricity bill. They gonna pay those groceries. They're gonna pay for that phone, like you said, that phone bill, that medical insurance. Because I know your school ain't offering it. You could get
school don't offer that.
You could probably, if you're on the team, you could probably get some doctors.
Yeah, and then even if you want to try and pay for those things, you're either having to, because kids their age that haven't been able to work a whole bunch, they probably don't. It's not like they're gonna have a whole bunch of like credit built up so they can get a loan or anything like that. So their parents are either gonna have to get a loan to help with getting them a place or doing whatnot, and just hope that they make it to the league to someday pay it off. Like you're just in a stuck situation.
Exactly, and like that's what blew my mind when people are saying these things. Like, just because they're getting a full ride to college, cool. College is paid for. Not everything else is going to be paid for.
A lot of people don't. Like, I used to be one of the people when I was in high school and you used to look at college sports, like, oh, they got everything paid for. But then once I went to college, and like I said, when I started working for Fresno State, I really saw like, oh, this scholarship is cool, but it ain't as cool as everybody think it is. Because before the NIL, once you get a scholarship, that means automatically you are not allowed to work. You can't,
basically,
because you ruin your availability if you work, because you become a professional.
You gotta think about that. Like, these kids only get to keep that scholarship if they perform well.
Yeah.
So it is 6 a.m. team meetings, 7 a.m. team workouts. Then you have class from God knows to whatever after that. Like let's use football as an example. Yeah. I'm interning with Southeastern's football team, and I got to see their schedule a little bit. Like their starting workouts, they go at 7 a.m. And after that, some of these players have class. Then boom, you got team meetings. And then after that, what do you got? Oh, you probably have film session after that. Now you got to go home, and now you got to study, because if you don't maintain these grades, you're going to lose your scholarship. Boom. Oh, it's the end of the day. Can't do any work. You got to go to sleep. So you got to repeat the process all over again.
I mean, with Fresno State, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was practice days. So
I'd even put in practice.
because practice for us started at. Well, we had to be there at 12 as the crew that works for the school. But players, they have to be there, they have to be in uniforms, ready to go on the field by 2 p.m. And they running, all they're doing stuff. And by the time they're done after practice, depending on your position, you got to go to meetings. Mm-hmm. Your meetings could be 2-3 hours, depending on how good or bad y'all did the previous week.
And the thing is, half of those kids aren't on scholarship. Half of them are having to take out loans just so they can get a chance to get a scholarship, to be on a team, to potentially get looked at by scouts.
people think that every player on the field has a scholarship. That's not how it works because every school
No.
doesn't get that. Every school does not get that many scholarships to give out like that. You
They
got to
don't.
remember this. There's the previous year kids have scholarships, so that takes. So once you go into the next year, that takes away from that next year's group of scholarships.
Exactly. So I just recently learned this because I thought like college teams had 53-man rosters and practice squad and all that. Southeastern has 120 plus
I was saying
active
100
football players.
Yeah,
120, 53 of which are probably on that team. The other 50 to 60 are just hoping to be on the team. Maybe another 20 are just there because, you know, I get to say I'm on the football team.
A lot of them are red shirts, gray shirts. They can wear the uniform in practice, but they're not allowed to practice. They can be in the facilities, but they're not allowed to work out because of certain stipulations. If you're a gray shirt, that means you're in school early. One, you're in college early. So yes, you're there, and you probably have a scholarship, but because you're a gray shirt, your scholarship doesn't start until your red shirt or your actual season starts. So therefore, anything before that, your family's come out the pocket for.
Exactly.
People don't realize all the little stipulations that NC2A had for them. It's BS, man. It's a lot of BS.
It's
a lot of
an
BS.
Insane amount of BS. And I think that's why for the longest time I thought the NCAA was the most crooked organization there was in the sports. Without a doubt. Like, you are using teenagers and stuff who are coming from terrible neighborhoods, trying to get away from everything. And if they make one slip up, you will screw them out of a career completely.
Screw them.
Because they got paid a little bit to sign autographs.
Well, that's like with the what was it? Oh boy, that he was a quarterback for the Raiders.
Money Manziel, Johnny
Well,
Football.
yeah, and then but also the players who traded a jersey for haircuts because they couldn't afford to pay for the haircuts, and they got suspended for that. It's like he couldn't afford to pay for haircuts, so he gave a jersey. And you saying that's a benefit? To me that is not even a balanced trade, but
that's a balanced trade.
But that's like, come on, man, you're doing too much. You're controlling these kids to the point where it's like slavery almost.
It basically is. Like they're literally told what you can and cannot do. And you
I
can't take any kind of money. You can't donate to any type of charitable organization. You can't be the spokesperson or the representative of anything until your season is done and you're no longer a college athlete.
Yeah.
It is bullshit.
Yeah,
I think it was with who was it? He was a wide receiver over the Chris Carter. Chris Carter almost did not have an NFL career because of the NCAA. Because he took money from he hired an agent.
He hired an agent. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a big time wide receiver. He was getting ready to go into the league. NFL teams were already talking to him.
Yeah. Well,
Plus,
I mean, that's how
he's gonna make millions.
Pittman's father played for Fresno State, and Michael Pittman was one of the top running backs of all college when he was about to graduate, or when he was about to go pro. And
wide receiver, Michael Pittman.
Yeah, his dad is a running back.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we all knew they were talking to agents. We all knew that. Everybody knows that. We just don't talk about it, because nobody's trying to ruin their future. Nobody's trying to ruin their future. And what's crazy before this whole NIL stuff and all these, when they used to really dictate the benefit situation, every school has to hire a person, and it's their job to tell on you.
That's hilarious.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you have to. There's
damn, bro.
The girl who used to work for our school, or the woman who used to work for our school. She came into our office, and I was talking to a football player, and I let him borrow a pen. She was like, "Do you know?" Like she even said, "That's why I use a pen because it came straight from her mouth." She's like, "Do you know if you don't give that pen back to Nonpfixion or Sticky, was I used to go back in the day? If you don't give it back to him, that's actually considered a benefit." And I was like, "A pen?" She's like, "Yeah, they want us." She said they want us to be that meticulous.
That is the most obnoxious thing I've ever.
But the NC2A made every school hire that person for their school. Instead of the NC2A paying for that, they made the schools pay for that out their own pockets.
That is such bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It just made me hate the NCAA.
That's why I said they are evil. They are evil.
The thing is with this NIL stuff, because now kids are making millions. Some of them aren't even going to school. Like, I don't know how much y'all know, like, how the highest paid NIL college athletes are right now, but LSU's Livy Dunn is probably making $5 million a year right now.
Is she
The
really?
figures that I've seen, she can't go to class anymore because of it. Really, basically,
Because she's. I mean, she's. Look how
I mean,
popular
yeah,
she is.
it's really the harassment part. But
Yeah.
like, she's
That's
18,
crazy.
19 years old.
She's
I think
she's
so.
making that much money
estimated
at this point.
3.5.
If you're gonna
That's
make
crazy.
this a thing, you have to make it a requirement for every college athlete to take at least 2 semesters worth of financial classes to help
Yes,
prepare
they need to teach them.
because a lot of these kids
yeah.
will blow that money.
Very true.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I know you talked about.
Yo, Charles!
Charles, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. You talked about Texas, and I couldn't remember the final tallies, but so what it is so Texas has this group called Texas X's, which is a lot of people that used to go to Texas. They have this foundation. It's kind of like a parents association, but they support the school, and so they are backing this other organization that wants to give money to Texas to pay for the O-line, basically. And
I've seen that. The O-line are basically getting like 6 figures.
Yeah, so what it says is that the O-line will receive the scholarship O-line players will receive $50,000 annually, so that their likeness, their name, and image can be used for different charitable considered situations. Now, from what I heard from the radio. One of the radio hosts who used to play at Texas, he was like, "Yeah, 50 is what they're saying." He said, "But it's probably more like 100K." He says, "It's probably more like 100K," and they're just saying 50. So whoever approves this will approve it, basically, because it won't look crazy. Because now players are going to specifically go to Texas because they can get that money quick. Yeah,
That's the thing I hate about NIL is that the fact that it's going to be used to pay players to go to schools.
Yeah, that is going to be a problem, that's Non's biggest issue too, because like we said the other day, it's going to affect smaller schools that can't afford that much stuff, But there will be a balance of everything. I think right now it's going to be extremely, weird, but eventually there's going to have to be some different rules that are going to change, and there'll have to be some type of limits or something that's put into effect. Just to keep up with the integrity of the game. And then also some players will realize that just because they go to the big school and get paid the big money doesn't mean they're also going to get the right looks or be put into the right situation, because not all players that are number one, that are big, 1-star or whatever, 5-star athletes coming out of high school. Yeah, 5-star athletes coming out of high school end up being the big deal. I mean, you look at guys like Josh Allen, I don't even think he was a star-rated quarterback. And then, look at him now. He's, within your top 5.
Justin Jefferson was a 1-star?
Yeah, he was a 1 or a 2-star. Yeah, he was a 2-star, I believe. Yeah, because he was small. He was very small in high school. But
yeah, exactly. Like,
let's see.
UT's gonna spend all that money and still suck.
Yeah, right. Ooh. All right, bud. Jeez, my cat's going crazy. So one last thing before we go ahead and wrap things up. We do have our first official NFL live stream of the 2023-2024 season coming on tomorrow. We will be live for the Detroit Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be doing our live play-by-play coverage. For those of y'all that are new to the channel that might not have joined us last year for it, we're going to go ahead, have ourselves up. It's going to look something similar to do I even have it set up? I got Brad in here. It's going to look something similar to this. We'll have the scores up, we'll have the timer up, and we'll be doing play-by-play just like a radio show would, and talk with y'all all throughout the game. I think it should be a lot of fun. In saying that, what is y'all's predictions for the game, especially now with Kelsey being out? Who do y'all have winning the game? Brad, I'll ask you first.
I think I am going to go upset here. I think Detroit wins 28-25 with a last-minute field goal to seal this game.
Wow. Non?
As we've talked about so many times, Travis Kelce is pretty much the core of their offense, and I am starting to see Mahomes, like you see Brady, where he can almost make not irrelevant receivers good, but he can make mediocre receivers good because he is a high caliber quarterback. I don't even know. Like I still want to say Chiefs, but I I kind of feel what Brad's saying. I think the Lions can pull this one out because that's a big target that they lost for at least one game.
I'll tell you
If
what.
it wasn't that Kels injury, I'd go Chiefs. But with Kels being out this week and the Lions being 100% healthy, that's big.
I'll tell you what. At the beginning of the week, is in one of our fantasy leagues, it has people talking trash about who's going to win this game, and I was ready to put on, a little bit of cash on Chiefs winning by +9, and now with Kelsey being out, I think that the Chiefs lose. It's not a big deal for the Chiefs, but the Lions win. It's a huge deal for them, and I think the Lions will go ahead and sneak this one. I think so, man. I truly do.
Oh, so we are all in agreement that the Lions are going to pull the upset.
They might.
Yeah,
they might. I'm just hoping for a fun game. That's all I'm hoping for. Man.
I'm looking forward to it. Football is officially back tomorrow.
Man, Andy Reid in the interview before, yesterday's interview, he wouldn't even say anything about Kelsey. He said, "I'll let you guys know before the game tomorrow."
Yeah, so we'll see
So
if Kelsey's healthy. If Kelsey's healthy, Chiefs win. If Kelsey's out, I got Lions, man. I really do. But all y'all that have came and tuned in, I truly appreciate you all for being here. Graboom said, if you think Detroit's winning, you're bugging. Graboom, I might be bugging, bro. I might be. Like I said, I really had Chiefs winning by like over 10 points. But with Kelsey out, I think it's just going to be a lot more of a task.
When the Lions pull it off.
It's going to be a lot bigger of a task. But it should be a fun game regardless. So make sure you come tune in. And I'm assuming you're a Chiefs fan, Graboom. So if you're a Chiefs fan, come tune in with us tomorrow night, and we'll have some fun. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. Charles, thank you for the double donos of $16.99.
Yes, thank you so much.
Much love to you, brother, and we will catch y'all tomorrow. Brad, once again, thank you for stopping by. Here's a link for Brad in the chat right there. You can go follow him on Instagram. Mind, Body, Soul Fitness is his Instagram account. And then also, we have 24 hours left to vote. Austin is currently, I think, in 3rd place right now. If y'all want to go ahead and vote for Austin, you can do a free vote through Facebook. You just got to connect your Facebook. You get 1 free vote, and votes are worth double for the last, I think it's actually 26 hours that's remaining. So if y'all want to go vote for him, I truly appreciate that. I know Austin would appreciate that as well. But we will catch y'all tomorrow night at, what time does the game start? 7 p.m. Central?
7:30.
7:30? So we'll be here sometime between 7 and 7:30 p.m. Central Time for Chiefs versus Lions. Nine, you got anything else to say?
Just thank you guys for being here once again. And like he said, Charles, thank you so much, man. Just appreciate y'all for being a part of the community. And if you're here and you're lurking, you're not really communicating, that's totally fine. But go ahead and do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, man. Just come back and join us for our live previews. You'll enjoy it. You'll love it.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, man. All right, catch you guys next time. Cheers.
Peace out.